Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. We are less than 6 months out now from the violent attempt to stop the counting of electoral votes at the U.S. Capitol. And that January attack is already starting to be seen very differently between the two parties, as evidenced by most Republicans in the House voting against an effort to investigate. Congresswoman Annie Kuster was on the other side of that vote, and she joins us this morning to talk about that and more. Thanks for joining us, Congresswoman.
Good morning, Adam. Great to be with you, as always.
So you have friends on both sides of the aisle. There was all that talk of unity in the aftermath of the attack. Now you have some members, your colleagues, comparing that event to a normal tourist visit. What are your Republican friends telling you about why they don't want to investigate what happened?
Well, the good news is we did get 35 Republican votes for the commission to investigate the events of January 6th. And I think that leadership, John Katko from New York, who helped to negotiate the deal, really was important because it demonstrates most Americans want to know what happened on January 6th. How did we have such a failure of security? And why was the intelligence ignored by the Department of Homeland Security, by the Capitol Police, by our Sergeant of Arms? So everyone wants to get to the bottom of the story. I know there are some Republicans who want to move on, but most of my colleagues were shocked when one of their colleagues compared it to tourists in the Capitol that day. The truth of the matter was I was in the gallery of the chamber, and I was with my colleagues for 5 hours after the insurrectionist attack, and my Republican colleagues were as fearful for their lives as I certainly was that day.
We know that you were in danger there, and we've talked a lot about how that impacted you. You didn't know what was going to happen. And it's been reported now that you received treatment for post-traumatic stress. Tell us, when did you realize this was more than just something that you needed to talk to somebody?
Well, I had never been through that experience, Adam. We thought we were going to die that day in the gallery. We were hiding behind barriers. We could hear the pounding on the door into the chamber. I immediately went to a feeling of fear of automatic weapons. I thought that there could be a mass casualty event. And so I knew that I was very rattled. The adrenaline was incredible. And one of my colleagues who had been an Army Ranger told me that that's the feeling of combat. So in the days that followed, I did make it home. We had to have security at the airports. I had to have police arrive and meet my plane and get me out to the curb. And we had to add additional security at home because of death threats to members of Congress. But it wasn't until I watched all the video. We were in the chamber that day, so I didn't actually see the crowd and the mob and the surging toward us and the intent to harm members of Congress. And I think that's when the trauma started to build up. So we were encouraged to seek help. I was not familiar with the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. I've had a lot of nightmares. I've had a lot of fear. But I want to say that first of all, the Capitol Police that saved our lives, and second of all, the people who work here in our employment services have been very helpful. It took about 5 weeks for me to recover, and it was complicated by COVID, so I have to say this sounds strange, but the best thing for me was getting out in nature in New Hampshire. Skiing, we did a lot of skiing because it was safe from COVID, and I had tremendous support from my family and colleagues.
And we can see from that Associated Press photo now that was seriously terrible situation. So we're glad you're doing better now.
It was terrible. Let's
get down to some policy. You've got the relief package, the infrastructure package, the American Families Plan, a $6 trillion price tag. Is there anything in your New Hampshire DNA you feel a little twinge spending that much money? When do you draw the line?
Well, sure. No doubt it's a lot of money. And I think my constituents know I'm a frugal Yankee. I'm very careful with every tax dollar. But look, this was an unprecedented incident with COVID-19, highly contagious infection and contagion that we thought could have caused a total collapse of our economy. And so when the pandemic hit, we went up to 16% unemployment in New Hampshire. Some states states even higher a year ago. Right now, it's hard to remember, but that's the truth of it, the total shutdown. So we were advised by economists, go big, make sure that we have a full and complete recovery. And when President Biden was elected, he was elected on this agenda of build back better. So not only restore our economy, but let's look at some of the challenges that we faced. I keep using this expression, COVID pulled back the curtain on the underlying inequities and challenges in our economy. In New Hampshire, for example, a lack of access to broadband in rural communities was critical for working at home, schooling from home, telehealth. So I will reach a point, no doubt, where I see spending that's not advisable. But right now, the infrastructure bill that we have coming, I think, is very important. Roads and bridges and highways, but let's make sure we include rural broadband. And a big part of it for me is going to be about child care, caring for seniors. We lost 1 out of 4 women from the economy during COVID-19, staying home to care for children, to care for family members. I want to make sure that we build back our child care system. We give everybody the opportunity to participate in a thriving economy. And right now in New Hampshire, that's the direction we're headed.
Particularly with the COVID relief, what oversight is there to guarantee that this money is going to be spent appropriately?
Well, this is important, both working with governors and working very closely with Governor Sununu, obviously. This is $1 billion coming to the state of New Hampshire for COVID relief. The biggest piece we've already gotten underway, and that was that all-important Paycheck Protection Program a year ago, making sure that people in New Hampshire received a paycheck even if their business was shut down from COVID, so that they could continue to pay their mortgage, pay their rent, pay for food. But even with all of that help, Adam, we've had 1 in 5 families in New Hampshire suffering from food insecurity and hunger. So we got to make sure that everyone has the resources to get back on their feet. Now, the exciting news in New Hampshire, first of all, the vaccine is working very, very well. We're 4th in the nation. We're one of the top in terms of 62% with the first shot, closing in on that all-important 50% with a second shot. This is going to help us reopen not just the manufacturing, but the all-important hospitality in New Hampshire. So we've gone from 16% unemployment a year ago. We're all the way down to 3% unemployment. So I think our economy is thriving. I'm very excited about the summer in New Hampshire. Memorial Day is just around the corner. You can make plans for a vacation. You can make plans to get outdoors with your family. And let's put COVID-19 behind us.
Do you think New Hampshire should be doing something similar to what they're doing in Ohio, using cash incentives to try and get people to get the shot?
So far, I don't think we need that. I'm very excited. Just over the last few days in New Hampshire, we've had a wonderful event up in Lancaster that was an open event for anyone to come get a shot with free tickets to the Lancaster Fair. In Nashua and Manchester, we've had mobile vaccine vans going out over the weekend. So I think we just need to make it accessible to people. We've heard a lot about vaccine hesitancy, but frankly, Adam, there are people who just haven't had the opportunity yet. And I want to make sure they understand their employer can be reimbursed to pay them for the day when they get their vaccine and the day that they recover. If they're concerned at all about missing work, we have a new program coming through this American Rescue Plan to fund your wages for you to get the shot, and if you don't feel well the next day when you're recovering.
I want to be able to quickly touch on what's going on in the Middle East here. Do you believe Israel is overreaching in its self-defense?
Well, look, I think the all-important, and I called for a ceasefire, the most important thing is that the ceasefire, we end these hostilities. I am very concerned about both sides, frankly, but yes, I think Israel has been pushing the envelope. I was shocked and chagrined when they invaded a mosque. Personally, this is a personal opinion. I believe houses of worship should be sacred and sanctuary for anyone during their prayerful times, whatever the religion might be. And that was one of the incidents that kicked off the violence. I think we've got to get to a ceasefire, calm the tempers, and let's negotiate that all-important two-state solution so that both Israelis and Palestinians can live together in peace. It's a very volatile part of the world. I have visited there a number of times, and I don't think it's helpful to the cause to have Israel pushing the settlements further and further into the West Bank, into Palestinian territory. I think we've got to stop, take a breath, and let's settle those boundaries once and for all.
All right, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, thanks so much for joining us on Close Up.
Always great to be with you, Adam, and thank you so much.
All right, thanks for your time.